Well, hello again. It's months since I've recorded one of these walks. But today, lovely blue sky, and I'm starting in the nearby village of Shipton Gorge. Let's see if we can find the footpath down this lane somewhere on the left. Now, I must say, this is a walk, hardly any of which I've done before. So I'm quite expecting there may be bits even that are impassable with mud. I took a walk a week ago not far from here and almost got completely stuck in the mud. Aha, here's the footpath. I've brought some secateurs with me in case I pass anywhere where I have to cut my way through, and we'll discover this together. So it looks like it's an uphill path. I'll join you a bit later. First thing to stop and notice, of course, is that we have snowdrops. Yeah, signs of spring coming even on the first little bit of this walk. There's some more snowdrops there. Going to be very soon out of the village and away and walking towards one of the smallest local Iron Age hill forts, Shipton Hill. Here we are, going up these steps. See you a bit later. Just pausing for a moment. At this point the path is going along the edge of a field. We're just outside the village. Shipton Gorge. Where's the gorge? Well, it is a village that's built on 2 levels and with some quite steep hills within it. And around it are other steep-sided valleys like this one. I'm just going to peek down into, if you can see, there's the water course at the bottom there, trees, and then it comes up the other side. But I believe the word gorge in the name Shipton Gorge actually has nothing to do with these landscape features. It's a family name from the past history of the village. Try and check that and find out more later on. Now, on we go. Having just come down that very slithery slope where I almost lost my footing, get to some equally steep steps down onto a little lane with a farmhouse, and just beyond that our footpath continues off to the left and further uphill. I think I must be nearing the top of this particular bit of path now. It's a path that clearly turns into a stream in wet weather. Lots of quite large stones underfoot, a farm hedge to the right and mainly loose hazel hedge to the left, going along the side of somebody's the garden of Smallcombe Farm. A smell of fox in places as we go up this path. And when you walk a path like this, which heads directly towards Shipton Hill, you have to realise that, at least I like to think, that this path could be along exactly the same route as people have been using for maybe 3,000 years. Because there's Shipton Hill up on the skyline, and it would have been inhabited, there's a trace of a settlement, would have been inhabited and used way back before the Romans came to Britain. I don't know the exact dating of any traces on that hill, but you have to calculate with this possibly being a very old track that we're following together. There's Shipton Hill ahead, swinging around, looking east now. Up beyond that immediate hill is more of the Bride Valley. Round to Othona is roughly directly ahead now, and then the sea. And down towards Shipton Gorge village. I've just come across this field. It was over a stile, over an electric fence, and then up a really squishy field. It was muddy all the way. It's so-called improved grassland, which means that a certain type of grass grows faster, but it means that pretty well all trace of biodiversity is gone from it, and that, in terms of the soil over a period of time, can leave the soil much less able to deal with water and absorb water. Just sits on the top and you get this muddy squelch. Anyway, coming all the way around until we look again at Shipton Hill. Let's go on up over the next field to get closer to it. I'm a bit out of breath now. I wonder if you can see the buzzard there. As I came up towards the top of the hill, there were 4 of them, all circling together. The other 3 have flown off in the direction of the sun, so there's no point in my trying to catch them with the camera, I think. But I hope you can see that. Coming back round, we're now right up on a level with Shipton Hill. I'll change the focus down to normal size. So, very near. Oh, there's one buzzard poised just above the hill, just hovering above the right hand end of the hill. A couple of seagulls, confusing the picture, but there he is, rising up a little bit on the thermal. Beautiful. Speak to you again on the very top of that hill. Well, and here we are, right up on the top of Shipton Hill, and there's my mystery companion, Robin, over by the trig point. I'm going to swing round from the northerly view and gradually show you. On the sides of this hill, there was quite a lot of gorse just coming into bloom. On the top, there's lots of dry bracken and stunted elder bushes and hawthorn, that kind of thing. There we are, looking out west towards Lyme Regis and round to Devon, and swinging around to take in the view across the sea. I must say, it's been a pretty muddy trudge all the way up. I know I had my little rant about improved grassland earlier on, and I don't resile from any of that, but I have to confess, it's been muddy pretty well everywhere, and I was glad I brought my walking stick, my walking pole with me, because once or twice today, I think, without it, I probably would have ended up on my bottom in the mud. Anyway, here we are, and swinging around, looking eventually back towards Othona and then out eastward to the Bride Valley. This little hill, Shipton Hill, not one of your large Iron Age hill forts, but probably what the archaeologists call a fortified or defended settlement. So it might have been a hilltop with a bit of defensive ditch and rampart around it, where maybe just one extended family lived and had that as their base for living and farming way back when. Now I'm going to walk off towards the eastern end of this little hilltop and show you something else from there. See you in a moment. Well, here we are up at the east end of the hill. Everybody says that Shipton Hill looks a bit like a boat turned upside down. So if that was so, we'd be at the bow end now. But I must tell you that the name Shipton doesn't come from ship. It probably comes from sheep. Anyway, as I swing round clockwise, looking towards the northwest and so on, I will let you into a little secret, because the reason Robin's with me for this part of the walk is that yesterday, when I first recorded this walk, there was a technical problem on just the very middle of it, the summit, the best bit of the walk, and we've had to come back today and re-record it. So yes, I was on my own for most of the original walk, but I've got Robin's company now. Just looking northeast from Shipton Hill, you can see on the skyline there somewhere that'll be familiar to many of you who visited us at Othona, and that is Egerdon Hill, a much larger Iron Age hill fort. This one was overrun by Roman troops under Vespasian back in the 1st century AD, if memory serves. And it's just another example of the same kind of geology as here. And the geology that's shaped lots of these small or larger exposed hilltops in West Dorset, where a stratum known as the upper greensand. Greensand sounds soft, doesn't it? But the upper greensand is actually rather tough rock and has layers of chert, which is flint-like and even tougher within it. And so West Dorset is shaped by the fact that in a few places, hilltops of upper greensand have never eroded away, and in between the valleys and the softer strata have gradually, by time and water, worn away into the lovely valleys, leaving places like Egerdon and Shipton Hill exposed and eventually occupied by human beings who needed somewhere that they could defend when necessary. So I'm now going to head back and find the path down from Shipton Hill towards the lane and towards the end of this short walk on a lovely day. Well, 2 lovely days, let's be honest. Anyway, thanks for your company. See you again in a moment. One of the really good things about mud, of course, is that you can see tracks. Look, deer, very clearly. And I'm on the north side of Shipton Hill at the moment, just skirting around the north side. Plenty of evidence of old badger setts on these slopes, but I'm almost running out of juice on the phone, so I'm going to stop and give you just very brief moments from the rest of this walk. That's where I've come from. One last look up at Shipton Hill. It's getting a bit cloudier now, but still a fantastic day to be out. Bit of natural vitamin D. I mean, I took my supplements this morning, maybe you did. But this is perfectly natural, entirely free of charge, and immensely pleasurable. As we all say these days, what's not to like? The rest of the walk takes me down a very narrow belt of woodland to the lane. In that woodland I know there'll be bluebells and primroses a bit later in the year, but I doubt there's anything showing yet. Onward. Well, here I am back at the lane, and the path through that narrow strip of woodland doubles as a stream part of the way down in winter, and it was horrendously muddy. But do come here when it's a bit drier. Give Shipton Hill a try, because I think you'll love it. Now I'll just make my way back to the car along the lane.